I love Big Macs, and today we're going to take that fast food favorite and we're going to be turning it into a delicious salad. We're keeping all the good stuff, the pickles, the onions, the sesame seeds, and we're flipping it into a salad that's way lighter on calories but still packs that Big Mac punch. It's also complete with a burger sauce dressing that's low in calories, high in protein, and absolutely delicious. It's going to blow your mind how much this tastes like the real deal, but with a fraction of the calories. For the full ingredient list, check the description box below. But enough talking, let's get cooking. The only thing that really has to be done in advance is to make the burger sauce dressing. You want the flavors to come together, so we're going to assemble this, we're going to put this in a squeeze bottle, and then we're going to send this in the fridge. For the base for this dressing slash burger sauce, we're going to use some 0% Greek yogurt. So this is going to add a nice creaminess without adding a lot of calories. 0% Greek yogurt, it's basically all protein, no fat, pretty low cal. So this is going to make a great base for this weight loss, fat loss, low calorie, delicious salad. So I'm going to put 2 containers of this 0% Greek yogurt. Now to that, we're going to add some ketchup, but the ketchup I chose here is a no sugar added ketchup. So it's about half the calories of regular ketchup. The whole energy behind this recipe is we are cutting calories without cutting flavor. Now, second up is going to be some yellow mustard. Yellow mustard has almost no calories in it, so we can put as much of this in as we'd like. The ingredient that has the most substantial calories in this dressing is going to be this mayonnaise. I'm using avocado oil mayonnaise because that's just what I like to use, but I'm going to be really cautious to make sure that I don't add too much. I'm just going to add a tablespoon or 2. And now to that, we're going to add a little sweet pickle relish. And you can use sweet pickle relish or dill relish. I like the sweet stuff because we're going to put dill pickles on the salad, so it gives a nice contrast. Now we're going to add a little vinegar. You can use any vinegar here. Here I'm using some white wine vinegar. It's pink because I've infused it with chive blossoms. Can't wait for spring to come along so I can show you how I make this one. This is so good. And now for a little sweetness, we're just going to add just a touch of honey. Normally in these burger sauces, it calls for sugar, but I'm trying to keep it a little healthier, so we're going to use a more natural version of sugar. Where McDonald's gets their red color from is adding paprika. So I'm going to add a little smoked paprika. This is going to add a nice little smoky hint and make that red color a little bit more rich. They don't even put ketchup in the Big Mac sauce at McDonald's. This is all they use for that red color. Lastly, a pinch of salt. Now let's give that a mix. And once we got a nice uniform color all the way throughout, this is fully mixed. You can put this in a container, jar, just probably leave it in the bowl, but I think it's best to put it inside one of these squeeze bottle containers with a wide mouth. It just makes application really easy and it stores really nicely for the salad, for any burgers that you're gonna make, or this stuff is so multi-purpose, you can put it on anything. And to get the sauce inside the container, the easiest thing you could do is take a milk jug, cut the top off, and you get this nice funnel with this nice wide mouth. Makes your life super easy. It's so difficult to get the sauce into these things. Nice and easy, and I didn't spill a drop. Now I'm going to put this burger sauce dressing inside the fridge so all the flavors come together while we prep the rest of the salad and cook our burgers. So now we're going to prep 2 types of onions. We're going to put the yellow onion inside the burger patties just like McDonald's does it. I personally think yellow onions cook up a little nicer with the beef than the white onions that we're going to top the salad with, but we're going to cut them very similar. So let's put a very small dice on about half this onion. That should be plenty of onions for the patties that we're going to cook right now. All right, I don't think I can ever show slicing an onion enough, so we're going to put a couple horizontal cuts in this onion because the smaller we want to go, the more horizontal cuts you want. And then I'm going to use light pressure on the outside to cut almost all the way through, and I'm trying to cut it as finely as possible to see if I can just do this just one time through and I don't have to come back through again to cut the pieces any smaller. But I'm using just some light pressure on the outside just to keep most of the onion together. And now from here, I'm gonna use my claw grip, trying to push all the way through together. And now you can see we have this nice small dice on this onion. This is the onion that's going to be incorporated inside the burger, so I'm just going to pass my knife once or twice over it just to take down any of the big pieces to make it nice, tight, and small. We want this to incorporate into the meat, cook really quickly, so the smaller that is, the easier that happens. And I'm just pushing these all together and just doing a quick pass right over the top. If I see any big pieces, I'll aim for that, but I actually did a pretty good job cutting this onion, so I really don't see any big ones. The Big Mac is topped with chopped white onion, so I'm going to chop it up just like you would get on a Big Mac, nice and small, just like we did on that yellow onion. So now we're going to cut it the same way, a couple of horizontal cuts. This one's a little smaller, we'll probably just do 2, push it together. And now we're going vertical, maybe about a 1/4 inch each slice. And then chopping across. So now let's talk meat. So I'm gonna use a 93.7. This is the leanest beef that I could find in the supermarket. This is a grass-fed, grass-finished ground beef. We're gonna try to cut as many calories as we can by cutting the fat out of protein. So when you're eating protein, you wanna lose some weight, you gotta keep to the lower fat stuff because fat drags in a lot of calories. So we're gonna take this, but we're gonna add the moisture by adding those onions in as the patties are cooking. So now for this beef, I'm gonna cut these into 1/4 pound patties. Each 4 ounces of this beef has about 25 grams of protein. So with 2 patties, we're gonna get a whopping 50 grams of protein in this salad. So I'm gonna take these, I'm gonna roll these into little balls. Each one about 4 ounces. So we're gonna make these burgers smash burger style, which in my opinion is the easiest and best way to make a burger. We're gonna need a couple of things. The first thing you're gonna need is gonna be a very thin metal spatula. Here I'm just using my fish spatula because it is thin, it's metal, it's gonna be able to get underneath. Plastic spatulas, rubber ones, silicone ones, they are not gonna cut it because this is high heat cooking and you need something that's gonna be able to get under the patty in between the cast iron surface and the burger. Secondly, we're gonna use this burger press. It's the best $8 I ever spent in my life because I use this thing all the time and it is such an easy tool to use to make smash burgers. In between the burger and the press, we're gonna put a little piece of parchment paper. So I cut these parchment paper into maybe like 8 to 10 inch long pieces, and we're just gonna put this on top of the burger before we smash it so the burger doesn't get all caught up inside the grate of the burger press. So let's head over to the stove, let's heat up our cast iron and start making these burgers. So I got my cast iron griddle very hot over a high heat. You can see that it's smoking hot. I'm choosing to use the cast iron griddle rather than the pan because it's easier to maneuver around. But if you just have a big cast iron pan, that'll do. And you can see that I have everything already ready. So while I'm doing high heat cooking, I'm not moving around. I got my burgers ready. I got the parchment paper. I got my cheese ready. I got my oil, my spatula, the burger press, the onions, the salt, pepper. I even got the plate that I'm gonna put it on. So prep everything before, because once this thing's going, you don't want to turn your back on it. So now a little spray oil to really minimize the amount of oil that we're going to use. And now both patties right on. So now we're going to take our parchment paper and our burger press and we're going to flatten these out. When this has this grate here, I like to do it one way and then turn it 90 degrees and do it the other way. So I'm going to give this a press down, nice and flat. Turn it 90 degrees, give it a flatten, and I like to press the edges down so the edges get nice and crispy. And now we're gonna do the same thing on this other patty. Press down, turn 90 degrees, press down the edges, nice flat and round. So now we're gonna take those onions that we cut up before and we're gonna sprinkle those right into the patty. The onions are gonna add nice flavor and they're also gonna add moisture because this beef is very lean, so we gotta add moisture. Normally, the fat will provide the moisture, but here we're gonna use these onions to add flavor without adding a whole lot of calories. And I like my onions, so I'm gonna put a decent amount and I'm trying to cover the whole burger. We're also gonna season with a little salt and some fresh ground black pepper. Beef doesn't need much, just salt and pepper will do. And now we'll take that same paper, we'll put the right back on top, and we'll turn the onions and the patties into a single thing and really incorporate them in. Once I start to see the edges of the burger pull away and the burger start to give off a little bit of that red juice, I'm gonna use that spatula. I'm gonna get right underneath and give this a flip. And look at that nice brown color on the outside. For cheese, we're gonna do 2 slices of low-fat American cheese. So this is at a reduced fat, so we're trying to cut some calories. I really can't tell the difference in between this, and if we are trying to cut calories whenever we're trying to cut fat, and there's still a little bit in there, that's a good thing. So we're gonna put this right on top, and then we're gonna reduce the heat down to a medium. Now we're gonna let this sit here until the cheese is melted on top, and when the cheese is melted on top, that's gonna let us know that these burgers are done. So now that the cheese is melted, I'm gonna remove the patties from the heat and shut the heat off. Now before we assemble our salad, let's clean this cast iron. I love to show this because I think the easiest time to clean cast iron is right after you're done using it. Once you let it cool down, it makes it a whole lot more difficult. So now I'm just gonna take my spatula and I'm gonna scrape off all of the solid pieces. Any of these onions I've already put aside, and I'm gonna do the same thing with the rest of these because we have a no flavors left behind policy. That spatula is not gonna cut it because it's got the holes in it, so let's use this spoon. Now, while it's hot, I'm gonna take this wet paper towel and I'm gonna give it a scrub while it's all nice and hot. And now we're utilizing steam power to keep this thing nice and clean. I'm gonna take another dry paper towel and clean up the little edges here. These burgers don't have a lot of fat in it, so there wasn't a lot of grease released. If there's any spots on here that seem to be a little bit stuck on, I'll take this stainless steel scrubbing sponge and I'll just scrub those all nice and flat. Once I do that, one more time with a wet paper towel, and now I'll re-season it with just a few drops of some avocado oil. Or one big drop. And now I'll just take this paper towel, I'll fold it up, and I'll spread the oil all over the surface. That one big drop was enough to cover this whole thing. My paper towel spreads it out very nicely. And now this is how you season a cast iron pan, cast iron skillet. And now you don't have to worry about cleaning up a gunked on cast iron that's already cold. This thing's heavy too. I don't have to drag it to the sink. Once this thing cools down, I'll put it right away and never even had to touch the sink. So now let's start building our salad. So we're gonna start off with a base of some nice green leaf lettuce. You can use any lettuce you like. Iceberg's cool too, but it's a little boring for me. I think we could do a little bit better. I like these little green leaf lettuces. I think they add a little bit of color. They got a little nice texture and a very similar flavor profile where it's not like strong like spinach or arugula. So now we're gonna add some tomatoes, and I know what you're already thinking, Big Macs don't have tomatoes on it, but tomatoes go with burgers. I like tomatoes in my salad, so forgive me, but I'm putting tomatoes in this Big Mac salad. So the tomatoes I like to use are the small little cherry or grape tomatoes. I think these are the perfect salad tomatoes because when you use big tomatoes and you cut them up, there's a lot of the sliminess in the inside that I really don't think like matches well with a salad. This is something really nice to grab with a fork. It's got a lot of flesh, but not much slime in the middle. One of the things I really like to do is take these little crispy onions that I lost when I was putting on top of the burger. We're not gonna throw those out. We're gonna put those on the salad and then put the burgers on top. You won't be able to see them and they're just so flavorful and so good and I just can't let them go. So now we'll put our burger patties on. Now we're gonna take our burger sauce / dressing. This is a burger sauce, but we're just using it as a dressing. So you do whatever you want with it. You can call it whatever you want to. We'll take that and right over the top. Now we'll add some dill pickle chips. I'm a pickle nut, so I'm gonna put a lot of pickles on here. And I like to let them sit on a paper towel for just a second before we put them on the salad. I love pickles. Sprinkle of those chopped white onions. And lastly, because a Big Mac goes on a sesame seed bun, we're gonna sprinkle on little sesame seeds. And now, how amazing does this salad look? I can't believe this thing is high protein, low calorie. Let's bite into it and give it a try. This smells like a Big Mac. I know if you've ever been to McDonald's and you've gotten a Big Mac, when you take it right out of the bag, you can already smell what it is. And this smells exactly like that. And I'm super excited to try it. So let's see if we can get a little bit of everything in this first bite. So we're gonna get some of the patty, definitely getting a pickle in there. This is gonna have to be a pretty big bite. The lettuce, because this is a salad, one of the tomatoes, and I'm sure there's enough onion and sesame seeds in there. So take a look at this epic bite. We got a little bit of everything in there. So we got the pickle, we got that beautiful beef patty, the sauce, the lettuce, we got a tomato on the bottom. Let's see how we did. This salad is unbelievable. It's food like this that can make losing a few pounds really easy because it's loaded with protein. The calories are relatively low. It's loaded with vegetables. This is so good. There's a little burger in a bowl. That sauce is so multi-purpose. It's really similar to like I guess a Russian dressing or a Thousand Island dressing. I think this would be like a Thousand Island dressing. But on top of this, on top of the burger, this is so good. And one of the keys to dieting is to find foods that are low calorie, high protein, and taste delicious. And then it doesn't make it like such a chore. And you can't be eating boiled chicken all the time. After you're done making these salads, you can take this sauce and put it on everything you're gonna eat all week. I'll let you thank me later. You can do that in the comment section. So while I'm finishing this salad, if you like some healthier dishes, check out my chicken shawarma bowl, loaded with protein, super high in vegetables, and absolutely delicious. I'll see you there. Thanks.